Tracking international stories coming in, and this is never seen before image of Epstein Island. House Democrats investigating convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's crimes have released new, never before seen images from his private island in the United States, Virgin Islands. The visuals are on your screens. This is where the whole controversy began, with the US President Donald Trump also in the dock over his links with Jeffrey Epstein. The photos show the exterior of Epstein's compound, surrounding views, and several rooms inside the residence. In addition to interior photos, the committee also released an image of a phone that appeared to list several names. Who were these people who used this? Who were these people who were linked? The House Democrats is currently investigating, and to know more details, my colleague Vishal is joining me live on the broadcast. Vishal, put all of this into perspective. How difficult it is going to be from now on for US President Donald Trump?
Well, Aditi, that will come later, because the highly anticipated files that are supposed to be released by the US Justice Department, they are still to be released. The US Justice Department has been directed by the US President himself, Donald Trump, to release those aforementioned files pertaining to the whole Epstein Island and the whole controversy surrounding Epstein, the person who was, convicted of sex trafficking, and then who allegedly died by suicide in jail. So all of that will come later, but this nonetheless is huge, because these are some never seen before images, as you rightly mentioned. This sort of shows what were the surroundings when these controversial things happened in the past, and not too long ago, where several young underage girls were abused on this private island owned by Epstein himself. Epstein, to put it into context, was a maths teacher and also a financier based in New York City, who had gone on to collect millions of dollars for a lot of high profile clients. And some of his friends included US President Donald Trump, former Prince Andrew, and also some other people who have been embroiled in the controversy together with Epstein. Epstein is not in the world anymore. As I mentioned, he had died by suicide a few years ago, but the names keep cropping up. President Trump himself has defended him by saying that he's not directly involved. His names keep cropping up because he was once a friend of Epstein. But these controversies keep swirling around him. But we'll have to wait for that final report that will be released by the Justice Department. That will have, some big details as to what exactly happened on that island.
Absolutely. Several high-profile names linked to this controversy. Several victims have come forward to detail the horror they faced on this island, in these rooms specifically, and on this island what happened. But we will wait for those files to be released by the US Justice Department, also putting a big question mark on the role of US President Donald Trump, who has agreed to release the files, but what exactly will be released and when remains a big question. My colleague Vishal was with us with more details. Thank you so much, Vishal. Tracking the Indigo flight fiasco, Airlines Pilots Association of India has criticized airlines over mass cancellations and questions regulatory oversight by the DGCA. The pilots' body has asked and questioned Indigo and other airlines, saying this is a result of poor planning, pressure tactics. Not much people were hired by the airlines. There was a pay freeze as well by the airlines. Hence, this resulted in this roster fiasco that happened. Several people in India are currently facing delays in their flights, which were to be boarded at one scheduled time, are now delayed by several hours. People are stranded at the airports, and they're asking one question: what exactly happened? Why there is so much chaos? What explanation does Indigo have? And now Pilots Association body, Federation of Indian Pilots, they all are blaming Indigo's long-standing lean manpower strategy and poor planning across departments. My colleague Tanushka, who has been tracking this since the beginning, is joining me with more details. Tanushka, how is the current status of the flights of Indigo, firstly, and how is the company actually managing the crisis?
Right, Aditi. So, Indigo, in a statement, has said that in the next 48 hours, they will try to restore normalcy and restore flight operations back to normal as well. As of now, what we know that between yesterday and today, around 200 flights have been cancelled purely of Indigo across various airports in the country. Now, the airline has said that across, among other reasons as to these delays and cancellations, they do mention that the flight duty time limitation norms, which are brought in by the DGCA, are one of the major reasons for this cancellation that led to thereby shortage of crew and staff. However, now we have these pilot association bodies, the Airline Pilot Association of India and the Federation of Pilots as well, come in with their views on the subject, and they say that the new FDTL norms are not the reason for pilot shortage and are not the reason for this fiasco as well. But they also term this to be Indigo standard timing, now linked to delays. They say that despite a 2-year window before the FDTL rollout, Indigo imposed a hiring freeze, non-poaching packs, and maintained a pilot pay freeze as well. So this is all a result of mismanagement within the airline, is what these pilot bodies are claiming. The pilot bodies are also saying at this point that they'll take up the matter with the DGCA and the ministry as well. And they say that they also recommend to the DGCA rather to consider reallocating Indigo slots to Air India, Akasa Air and other airlines as well if these disruptions continue. Remember that Indigo holds the major market share of domestic airfare in our country, and also the fact that they also have a lot of night routine running more than the other airlines, which is also primarily why they were worst hit by these FDTL norms as they claim. Back to you.
Right, and Tanushka, 24 hours is what the airline is promising us that this issue will be resolved, but isn't it too long? What is the central authority doing about it? Are any other airlines also facing any similar issue? What is the one advice that you will give to the viewers who are planning to board their flights, maybe via Indigo or other airlines? What should we keep in mind right now?
Right, Aditi. So the airline at this point is saying that anything between 24 and 48 hours is the timeline that they're giving to restore back to normalcy with respect to delays and cancellations. We do know that, there was a heavy downpour of disgruntled passengers taking to social media platform X, posting about their experiences. Even I spoke to one such passenger who was stuck at the airport in Mumbai airport for around 7 hours waiting for his flight with no particular update. We have, spoken to passengers here as well, and there are more such cases that have come in. So passengers, of course, need to keep in touch with the airline at this point, because that is their only chain of communication to understand or know what is their update with respect to their flight. And of course, look out for, news like us right here, giving out exactly what is needed and what is happening at this hour with respect to this entire meltdown in the skies that Indigo had today and yesterday.
Absolutely, Tanushka. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us that piece of advice. Viewers, do check in your flight status before leaving for airport, as there is a crisis that is brewing with every minute. The Congress party is in the dock, with parliamentarians putting the party in an embarrassing mode. On the one side, you have Renuka Chaudhary, who said bhav bhav when she was asked about a privilege motion being moved against her. On the other side, you can see how Congress leader Ragini Nayak has put out a video, which is an AI-generated video, in which you can see how the Congress party is mocking the Prime Minister. Now, this is not the first time that the Congress party has done so. This has been a habit of the Congress party to target the Prime Minister in such a manner. So the BJP has got a chance to attack the Congress party once again, claiming that this is what the Congress party does when it wants to divert the attention of the people from real issues. It creates such a paranoia about certain things and not come to the point where the Prime Minister, and I'm quoting him, said that this parliament needs delivery, not drama. Sample the reactions coming in.
ड्रामा करने के लिए जगह बहुत होती है, जिसको करना है करते रहें, यहाँ ड्रामा नहीं, डिलीवरी होनी चाहिए।
The Prime Minister's warning to the opposition against drama.
संसद में प्रिविलेज मोशन लाने की तैयारी कर रही है बीजेपी, क्या कहेंगे
आप क्या
और क्या बोले?
And the Congress MP's theatrics. Former Union Minister Renuka Chaudhary, who made headlines for bringing a dog to Parliament and then taking pot shots at the government.
जानवर को पसंद नहीं करते है ना सरकार। गूंगा जानवर गाड़ी में चले गए तो इनको क्या तकलीफ है? काटने वाला कुत्ता दिखा क्या? इतनी सी तो है, काटने वाले और है पार्लियामेंट में, कुत्ते नहीं।
Chaudhary remained defiant on Wednesday morning and said she's violated no rule and doesn't care about any action taken against her, literally making a barking sound as she gave a bite. As the ruling side upped the ante on Renuka's antics.
देश की पूरी संसद को के सांसदों को काटने वाला कहना और काटने का संदर्भ कुत्ते के साथ जोड़कर कहना, यह दर्शाता है कि पूरी संसद की गरिमा को ध्वस्त करना कांग्रेस का एक विधिवत सुविचारित अभियान हो गया है।
She got support from Rahul Gandhi.
क्या कर दिया बेचारे कुत्ते ने? यहाँ आया था क्या?
हाँ सर, यही है।
अलाउड नहीं है क्या?
ऐसा कोई रूल बुक में नहीं है, बट
पेट अलाउड नहीं है। पेट अलाउड नहीं है, पेट अंदर अलाउड है।
the same statement. If it's inside the car, it's allowed.
Dogs are not allowed is that what you?
The BJP leaders have threatened to bring a privilege motion against Renuka Chaudhary over what they allege is an insult to Parliament.
प्रिविलेज मोशन आपके खिलाफ लाने की तैयारी की जा रही है, इस पर क्या कहना चाहिए?
जब आएगी देखा जाएगा, ऐसी क्या परेशानी है?
कोई जवाब उनके लिए?
जब आएगा ना मैं मुंह तोड़ जवाब दूंगी।
Theatrics aside, Renuka's dog stunt and then the bark have clearly given the BJP a lot of teeth to bite the Congress with. An NDTV Bureau report.
Now, if you're choking in Delhi, don't worry. The Delhi government has finally swung into action, and the Delhi government will form a committee headed by Chief Minister Rekha Gupta to monitor pollution in the national capital. Remember these scenes in 2024 when the BJP leader was protesting for pollution? Now that there is Delhi mein BJP Sarkar, it's still the same scene. In 2025, now opposition leaders are gunning for the Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta's party and government, asking the similar question, why the pollution crisis has not been solved by the BJP government. But the question bigger than this is why there is no relief when the planning should have been done in months advance. Take a look at this report.
Just 5 years of age and gasping, struggling to breathe. Jared lives in Noida with his parents and he has undergone a tonsil removal surgery. After 2 years of chronic swelling and breathing issues, aggravated by worsening air pollution in Delhi NCR region, this boy had to face extreme health impacts. The toxic NCR air is taking away the most basic joys of childhood. Sachin and Sakshi moved to Noida 2 years ago to build a better life for their children, until Jared developed persistent coughs, frequent colds, and severe nasal congestion. As the condition kept getting worse, the last resort was surgery.
Doctor said, I don't know how he is able to breathe because 90% of the airways are almost blocked due to the tonsil enlargement and the adenoids on the surgery. Because surgery is surgery, whether let it be a small or a big one. For a child like him to go for the full anesthesia and go through all the process and the medication was being parents was very painful for us also. And he was so brave, like mama मैं ठीक हो जाऊँगा, मुझे surgery करा लेने दो, मैं कुछ खा पी पाऊँगा. From the last 2 years we were like trying to find, at least for 95% we were not having the outside foods, or we were not going outside also कि अगर जाएंगे तो ये demand करेगा खाने की.
So what the doctor said, like 2 years ago, he started with continuous cold and cough. So doctor said that due to cold and cough, his adenoids and tonsils are getting swelled. Last post Diwali pollution, so the allergy and cold and cough was not going even with the medication, steroids, antibiotics. And due to infection, his adenoids, the skin in the nose and tonsils are getting swelled. So now they swell to the stage 4. They covered the area in the mouth and the nose. Because of that, he is not able to breathe properly. So we have taken advice from 3 to 4 doctors. So they all said that he is getting allergy and continuous allergy. Even after the surgery, you need to take care of his allergies. So we said, then what is the solution? They said, leave Delhi NCR.
Easier said than done. For most people, leaving the city is not an option.
So thing is, like, we struggled, we studied, and after so much struggle, earlier 5 years ago we were thinking whether to live here or whether to go outside, abroad, outside India. So then we think everything is here, our parents are here, so we managed to get IT jobs over here and chase this home, and we sold everything on our hometown to purchase home over here. So now we are thinking, like every day we are thinking, let's start a small business in our hometown or somewhere, so that we can leave NCR.
Medical professionals are now reporting a significant rise in allergy and sinus related cases in children due to persistent poor air quality.
That impact, there are more chances of having granular pharyngitis. The problem is that, the tonsils, they act as sentinels, as we call, the first guard. So once you have this repeated bouts of sinusitis, and also you become more prone to having infections in the throat also, to allergic rhinitis, nasal blockade, and of course tonsillar problems. And there is something known as granular pharyngitis, which is also very much related to the pollution.
With camera person Sachin Gupta, this is Tanushka Datta for NDTV.
On that note, we are taking a very quick break here. Don't go anywhere. Keep watching NDTV. New Delhi is all set to host President Vladimir Putin for a 2-day visit, signaling its determination to deepen ties with Moscow. Putin will be in India for the 23rd India-Russia Annual Summit. Both the countries now aim to expand bilateral trade to $100 billion by 2030. And defense is at the center of this meet ahead of Putin's visit to India. Watch this report.
A crown jewel of Russian weaponry in the Indian arsenal, the S-400, used in combat for the first time this year during Operation Sindoor. The roar of the missile sets an unmissable mood. As the Russian president arrives in India, the focus is largely economy and trade. But defense and weapons are a permanent sweetener in this relationship. Putin's visit this week injects fresh momentum into one of the world's most enduring strategic partnerships. Putin isn't coming empty-handed. The Russian delegation arrives armed with proposals that could reshape India's future military power. Co-production of the S-500 missile defense system, Russia's most advanced shield against ballistic missiles and hypersonic threats. And a pitch of Su-57 fifth-generation stealth fighters, a jet Russia believes can be the spearhead of India's air dominance in the 2030s. No deals will be signed during Putin's visit, but the flavor is clear. Russia is still India's #1 supplier of weapons and military hardware. The Indian Air Force remains the heaviest operator of Russian aviation outside Russia itself. The flagship Sukhoi 30 MKI air dominance fighter is the Indian Air Force's mainstay combat aircraft. Add to that the MiG-29s, IL-76 transports and Mi-17 helicopters, and the Russian imprint is unmissable. The Indian Army's brute force is still powered by Russian platforms, from T-90 and T-72 main battle tanks to BMP-2 infantry fighting vehicles to the Smerch rocket systems that form the backbone of India's long-range artillery punch. And at sea, the Russian connection runs deep, from aircraft carrier INS Vikramaditya to the super silent Kilo-class submarines to the Talwar-class stealth frigates. The famous BrahMos, named after the Brahmaputra and Moskva rivers, is a shining symbol of the Indian-Russian partnership. It was this weapon, fired from the air, that brought devastation to Pakistan's air bases during Operation Sindoor. With shifting geopolitics, India has diversified its import sources, becoming a major customer of US weapons in recent years. But Putin's visit could reaffirm who continues to rule the roost. An NDTV Bureau report.